Hey everybody, Jason Burmis here. And when you see what Netflix has been promoting, not only recently, but over the last few years, in many regards, to the sexualization of children, it is more than alarming. Netflix is not alone in this. This is a Hollywood problem. This is an entertainment problem. And in my opinion, this is a predator class problem in that the abuse of children is the most abhorrent thing, especially the sexual abuse of children, the most abhorrent thing, right? To most regular, normal, clear-headed thinking people when it comes to human beings, their family, their friends. They think to themselves, my God, how could someone do that to a child? And yet, in 2020, in this culture of you can be anything, of 150 bazillion different genders, the normalization of child predators, and this is a resurgence too, I want to get to that in a minute, is now over the top. Remember, a lot of these people want to be relabeled as minor attracted persons. MAPS. No, 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 no. You are a child predator. You are a monster. I do not believe there is a good chance that you could ever be reformed. You should be doing heavy, heavy, heavy stints in prison, if not life, for your crimes. And yet, we've seen that, and that, and that. And now it's more out in the open than ever. Now, if you watch Showbiz Kids, and I encourage you to do that, there is a short segment on the sexualization of children in Hollywood, right? Mila Jovovich is in this, and you know she was in the Blue Lagoon sequel. She's been around forever, and they focus on Brooke Shields and some of these things that they were blatantly doing in the 70s and 80s in cinema, which is disturbing, okay? But people kind of caught on to it. It was no longer acceptable. I think that we advanced as a culture. Like, what are we doing here? We got kids. This is insane, right? But now it's back, and it's back in full force. And the guy behind me, it's a reality show. I don't know much about it. I've never seen Cheer. I'll be honest. I've never seen Cheer, but just the small amount of research that I did into this, obviously this person, is an open homosexual. And I don't know whether it follows him or the whole crew, but this isn't an attack on that. This is an attack on the fact that this person was so promoted. He was going to be a presenter at the Emmys. Meanwhile, he's soliciting videos and pictures from 14-year-old boys. And that's what he got caught doing. Okay? That's what he got caught doing. And the details are, we're going to go over some of them, but some of the ones I've read are so damn grotesque that it's just no mas. And again, I want to reiterate this. When you look into even big Hollywood productions, Mila Jovovich didn't really go into it. Jovovich, I'm butchering her name, but everybody knows her. She'll tell you, she basically says, yeah, there were some guys that were a lot older that were creepy, but you're around all these, older guys and you feel like you're part of the crew. Again, Bella Thorne, abused from 6 to 14, and she said everybody around her knew. And when you get to the normalization of it, yeah, we talked about the Blue Lagoon, but Netflix and Cuties, so controversial, as well it should have been. And I think you need to get the facts right on that. That wasn't a Netflix original. It was this art film they picked up, but they heavily promoted it. I mean, you saw how they were advertising it. Normalization of child abuse. So guys, we're going to show you the articles. We're going to go over them in a moment. What you heard here, since we're not promoting MAPS, and we are promoting aggressive sentences against child predators so they don't abuse again, we're probably harmful content. 5.5+ months, totally demonetized. I need your support. $5, $10, $15. It means the world to me. Big donors. Thank you so much. Couldn't do it without you. Spread the documentary films. Spread the videos. They're all free. Loose Change, Final Cut, Fabled Enemies, Invisible Empire, A New World Order Defined, and Shade the Motion Picture are free right here. If you've got somebody who still believes in Biden being better, maybe you show them Fabled Enemies. Get them to watch that Pakistani ISI part. You know what I'm saying? That's all I'm saying. That's all. Just a thought, everybody. Again, make sure you're thumbing them up, subscribing, sharing, ringing that bell, and Rockfin, 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 Rockfin. After I make the move to Iowa next week, okay? Monday through Friday, 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. Eastern, we're going to do a live show, then I'm going to cut it up, and then I'm going to throw it over there. It's going to be exclusive there, so go make your free account over at Rockfin right now. That's how you can interact live in the coming weeks with the show, and we're going to be expanding. So let's get into it. Last week, Jerry Harris arrested for child porn. Lovely, okay? Jerry was arrested Thursday morning in Illinois and is being hit with charges of production of CP, according to Assistant U.S. Attorney Joseph D. Fitzpatrick. As we reported, Harris was under investigation by the FBI for allegedly soliciting minors for sex back in May of 2019. Now think about that. Where are we? A year plus later. But he was under FBI investigation then. Why are they allowing this to continue? Why do you honestly believe there wasn't some type of victim, some way of this person, okay, from May of 2019 on? Okay? I mean, maybe I'm misreading it, and maybe the FBI didn't get involved until much after, and that basically they found out then. But my goodness, according to the feds, the parent of 2 male children, both 14, claim Harris had contacted both of the boys online and repeatedly solicited CP images and videos. Harris allegedly began contacting the boys in December of 2018. Okay? The minors provided law enforcement multiple screenshots of communications with Harris via Snapchat and text messages, along with evidence of apparent FaceTime calls with him. According to the complaint, he was 19 at the time, and the boys were 13. So that's the next thing I want to talk about. Okay? A lot of people have this vision of what a child abuser looks like, right? Because you see a Dennis Hassert, you know, in politics. You see an Ed Murray in politics. You see a Foley in politics, right? Those types of people. And then you see, you know, a Sandusky. And you even see a Weinstein who's been accused of, you know, going after teenage girls as young as, I believe, 16. There may have been, I know the one model I believe was 16. There may be some younger ones. But they have a look, right? Well, the thing is that what you don't know is like a guy like Ed Murray, if you're not familiar with him, mayor of Seattle, he embedded himself with children from the time he was out of high school. In these Big Brother programs in the community, right? So they don't look like that always. Those are the visual monsters they become, okay? And listen, a lot of these people, literally, you know, they are sociopathic. They don't look like something that's stereotypical, okay? This guy needs to be prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law. It needs to be more than a slap on the wrist, okay? I'm sure that he had more victims than just 2 boys, and it needs to be exposed. And you know what, Netflix, you need to be held accountable for promoting people and imagery like this. And I know a lot of people will come back on me, well, how could they know? How could they know? The real question is, when this stuff goes on, how does somebody not know? How does somebody not know about Bryan Singer? That works around him. Is it even willful ignorance? Or is it an accepted open secret? Right? When Corey Feldman, you know, love him or hate him, and by the way, I thought his film was very good. I think it's a great starter piece for somebody that is unfamiliar with this subject matter, and I think he did a good thing with it. I know a lot of people were disappointed. But again, that disappointment comes with the hopium that, a lot of people that now are aware of this want to believe, because what they've seen is so monstrous, right? Jeffrey Epstein, they didn't know about him. They didn't know about the Franklin scandal. A lot of them still don't. So they layer it up with what I would say are delusions of grandeur, right? Stacking things that have circumstantial or no evidence and naming people like Tom Hanks, right? When in fact, and they're all going to get caught, right? And they're like, yeah. That's a narrative that's built. Unfortunately, we have to push back on the ones with the real evidence, bring it to a head just so it comes up. And believe me, we can do that, right? We can come to that head and then crush the top. Weinstein had great power. I was extremely surprised he was able to be taken down. And remember, he runs in that quote-unquote slither circle that Jack Scarola, the lawyer for Bradley Edwards, who represented all these Epstein victims, stated. So hope is not lost, but instead of you believing in hopium, right? And boy, Corey Feldman's he's gonna out Spielberg, and this is it. The Hollywood takedown is here. It's a lot more work than that. It's a constant push, because at the end of the day, we're pushing at a movement that has a lot of resources. I talked about the 80s in Hollywood. Look into the NAMBLA organization that came into fruition around that time and how they just got pumped a ton of money. And you see some of this stuff that was put out there on VHS in the 80s, right? When you start seeing this stuff, you're like, whoa. And when I say VHS, I'm talking about documentary films, talking about what was really going on, in the 70s, 80s, in these porn shops, how, children were being exploited then. And this goes deep, baby. I mean, when we talk about even MK Ultra, and we talk about the brothels, the secret brothels that were being run by the Central Intelligence Agency. Think about that. They're running the prostitution rings on coast to coast. Okay, they're the ones doing it for blackmail and all this other nefarious means. You think they kept records of the ages of the prostitutes they turned out or recruited or used as assets? Do you think they were just so morally obliged to check their identification and make sure they were 18? Do you think they didn't use young boys the same way they used young girls? This is deep, yo. And if you don't think the Central Intelligence Agency is embedded in Hollywood and entertainment, you have not been paying attention. Think I'm going to leave it on that with the rants, guys. If you like the video, thumbs it up, subscribe, and share. Remember, couldn't be doing this without you. $5, $10, $15. It means the world to me. And again, know your information. With the Save Our Children hashtag, that's great, but it's not 800,000 missing a year, guys. I'm going to say it again. Anybody can go look this up now. Do that first search that's not a meme. It's about 450, 460,000 a year. You can look over the last decade plus. About 90% of those kids are returned. That still leaves about 40,000 disappearing kids in this country alone each year. That's scary. That's real scary. And by the way, with the 90+% that are, returned or whatever, they're often in foster care. They're often the ones being abused. They're sometimes running away from a situation where they may be being trafficked, right? That's a reality too. But when you have your numbers right, they're still just as shocking, right? I know that number sounds crazy, 800,000 kids. And it's like, man, that's a lot. Well, you know what else is a lot? 400,000 plus. And then 10% of those, there's no body. We're not talking about 40,000 kids dead. Where are they going? That is, when you put that to somebody, that's a lot for our country every year. That's a massive number. So again, we tell the truth here. We go by the numbers. If you can support me, great. Go check out the documentary films. Please, Loose Change, Final Cut, Fabled Enemies, Invisible Empire, A New World Order Defined, and Shade, the motion picture. Again, thumbs it up, subscribe, share. Find an individual video, share it with somebody else. Let them know that there's an alternative to the left and right paradigm they're being fed, and even an alternative to the main alternative news out there. I like to think that I cover a lot. And once again, you can support me on Rockfin, right? It's like a Netflix for creators. Let's say you endorse me, right? Then you get all these other great creators. I really like this Medford character, by the way. He's really good. Richard Medford, man, he's on fire out here. Nico House. Oh, Nico's live too. Shout out to Nico House. Good to see you. See how I am also broadcasting there live. Askren, the Jimmy Dore Show, Iverson, Sam Tripoli's on here. I'm trying to get as many people as possible on here. Fitch. Not sure if the Conspiracy Farm's on here or not, but if they're not, they need to get on here, guys. So if you do endorse me for the $9.99 a month, guess what? You get it all. It's all there for the one fee. So, guys, I love you. Thanks for joining me, and I'll see you on the flip.